while since I've been with you, but I just wanted to come on today and I wanted to do a recipe in whole wheat bread making. And I showed you earlier me grinding my wheat berries. Here is my flour. I should have 6 cups of flour. 1.5 cup of whole wheat berries makes 2 cups of flour. So we're gonna start off and we're just going to add our ground wheat to our bowl. We're gonna start with 2 cups and then we're gonna make a sponge. I've got 1 cup of lukewarm water, a tablespoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of yeast. And I'm just gonna add this to this 2 cups of flour, and we're going to mix this together. And what I'm doing here is just kind of making a sponge, and I'm going to let this absorb and come back in a few minutes and add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so we have our sponge, and now we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. Let me show you. I have 1 cup of milk. Since we're doing 6 cups of flour, we need 2 cups of liquid in that. I'm gonna add 2 eggs, and the eggs are gonna help with the lift. As you may know, it's essential to get a lift in wheat. Sometimes your wheat is what causes your bread not to rise when you're doing fresh ground wheat berries. So we have 2 eggs. That's also gonna help with protein and the richness of our bread too. We also have malt powder here. The light's kind of bad right now, but this right here is a domestic malt powder, and what it does, it helps to activate the bread also to help with the rise on it. And I'm just gonna 1 teaspoon of the malt powder. So we're going to add some Vital wheat gluten to this, and the wheat gluten also helps to add to the rise. And it actually says to do 1 tablespoon of gluten per cup of wheat grain flour. So I usually do not do that much, 1 tablespoon. I actually do 2 tablespoons is what I normally do. So get that and put that in. Spoons of salt. All right, we're gonna stir this up. And for my sweetener, I have some sorghum here, about 1/4 cup, and I'm going to put that in as a sweetener. Now you can just do like a tablespoon of sugar or a tablespoon of honey. You go ahead and just put in some more of the flour. Now on adding flour, the way I like to do it is a cup at a time, and then kind of stir it and see where I'm at. Have a little bit of a sticky dough, not just extremely sticky. There's a really fine line of getting too much flour and not enough flour. So if you add it 1 cup at a time, you can control it better. And your absorbency, your flour absorbency too, plays a big role. Some wheat absorbs the water different than other wheat. What I'm using today it's called Montana Gold, and it's hard white, so it's good for yeast breads. Like a soft white is better for your soda breads, such as biscuits or pancakes, that kind of thing. And your hard wheats are better for your yeast breads. You can mix them if you want. You can add a white wheat berry and a red wheat berry together. A hard red winter or hard red spring wheat can be added to your white. You can just do one or the other. Play with it, see what works out best for you, what you like best. My dad likes the red wheat better. It's a stronger wheat, and he prefers that. So the white's a little milder. You just kind of have to see what you like the best. Go online and I order like a 50-pound bag. It does not have an expiration date on it. Whole wheat has 40 of the 44 essential nutrients that we need to survive. It doesn't have vitamin D in it. It doesn't have vitamin K unless you let it sprout. It has limited amounts of vitamin A. I've got this made up. I've got my dough made. You can see there's still some dry spots in there. Get it close where you can see. That's still flour that had been mixed in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this over to my mixer and I'm just going to let it knead together for about 10 minutes. So I kneaded my dough, and I'll see if you can see that. It's a little bit sticky, but not too sticky. It's actually a really good consistency. And now I'm going to let this rise, and as it rises, it will absorb more and more of the liquid. What I'm doing, just gonna spray this, and I'm going to pull my dough out. First loaf I'm gonna make is going to be cinnamon and raisin bread, and I'm just gonna start and I'm gonna roll this out. I punched it down. I'm gonna work the dough, and I have a mixture of cinnamon with some brown sugar here. I always use the Vietnamese cinnamon. It's just more of a powerful cinnamon. It's got a more cinnamony taste, if that's a word. If you did a side-by-side comparison to just a name store brand that you get and then Vietnamese cinnamon, it's pretty amazing. So I get that spread out for the most part, and I'm just gonna pat that in. I did about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon to, I think it may have been a half a cup of the brown sugar. So I'm gonna just use this bowl to pour my liquid off of my raisins. And then we'll take our raisins and then we'll just spread them out on our dough also. This is probably 3/4 of a cup of raisins right here. Be fantastic. So we're just gonna roll this to our loaf. Squish it together. We got a little bit coming out the ends. That's okay. I have a prepared loaf pan here, which I sprayed with cooking spray. I take this seam side down and put that in my pan. Kind of just push it down in there, get it. And I'm going to take this and set it over here. I'll cover it once I get my other loaf in the pan. I'll cover both of them and let those rise.